coming up on the September 8th edition of Sports Extra. But the Heart Attack Heels pull off another comeback win. Is this a good sign or a bad sign for the football team?
And what would you do to spend 45 minutes with some Tar Heel legends? All you have to do is take a particular PR class.
And there are lots of ways to measure success for Carolina athletes, including how much buzz they create on the web. All that and more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Wins as far as the eye can see this weekend for Carolina sports teams. Hello and welcome to the September 8th edition of Sports Extra, the first of the semester. I'm Luis Fernandez.
And I'm Susanna Black. There were some dominant performances and every Carolina team won, but the football team needed almost every second to pull off the improbable win. Kenan Stadium was packed and striped for the game against San Diego State. After a shaky performance against Liberty, you really didn't know what to expect from the Heels this weekend. Things didn't look good in the first half. It felt like every offensive drive ended in a punt. Brian Walker had an amazing 100-yard pick six, but the defense gave up big plays. In the third quarter, the Aztecs were up 21-7, but the Heels came roaring back. Quarterback Marquise Williams threw 2 TD passes, one on this sweet fade to wide receiver Quinshaw Davis, added touchdown from freshman running back Elijah Hood, a field goal, and a clutch INT in the back of the end zone, and you have the winning formula for a 10-point fourth quarter comeback. Lewis, a crazy game going back and forth. Once again, the defense made the turnaround possible. Yeah,
getting turnovers was definitely key for the second straight week. UNC kept on taking the ball away. There were 2 picks from sophomore cornerback Brian Walker, including that dirty pick six. And senior Tim Scott had that grab in the back of the end zone. It wasn't just this game, though. Last week against Liberty, the defense grabbed 2 interceptions and 4 fumbles against the Flames. Obviously, it's great for the defense, but the bad news is the D is allowing big plays and big yards. 855 yards through 2 games against Liberty and San Diego State. Senior linebacker Jeff Schottmer had his side of the ball. We'll look at the positives from these 2 weeks.
You know, I think we have 9 in 2 games, which is unheard of. You know, that's something we're really proud of. But I mean, we're not going to dwell on the negatives, which was missed tackles and stuff like that. We are going to look at the positives. We did force a lot of turnovers, and we got the win. So that's what we're going to be proud of.
You know, you have to wonder what ACC teams will do to this defense.
Yeah, there were a lot of missed tackles out there, but one Carolina player is making opposing defenses look silly, and he's our player of the week. That's right, backpack Mac Hollins. Through 2 games, this walk-on is torching teams for big gains. Hollins had 2 catches against Liberty, including this 33-yard scamper for a TD. On Saturday, 2 catches again for 110 yards, including this bomb from Marquise Williams. That's the longest pass in Kenan Stadium history. How did recruiters miss this guy?
Good stuff from Backpack Mac. All in all, going into this off week, being 2-0 is much better than sitting at 1-1, especially with ECU coming up, a team that destroyed Carolina last year. The 4 players suspended for the alleged hazing incident against redshirt freshman wide receiver Jackson Boyer all returned to play against San Diego State. One of the 4 players was defensive back Brian Walker, who, as we mentioned, had 2 interceptions for the team in his first game back. On Wednesday, Coach Fedora said he will be no longer answering questions about the hazing matter.
Despite this most recent scandal, the football team has been generating more of a buzz than ever, thanks in part to the Heels kicking off the season with a pair of night games. Brett Thompson has more about Carolina football under the lights.
For the first time since 2009, the Tar Heels have been in Kenan Stadium on Saturday night twice. Carolina football fans have grown accustomed to noon and 3:30 starts, sometimes creating a lackluster atmosphere in the Tar Pit.
I would say it's definitely a different feel happening. I know last year we had a lot of new games. It meant I had to wake up at like 9 a.m. in the morning. This year we have some night games. It means I'm not waking up until noon.
Some fans prefer the later start time, and Chapel Hill businesses are cashing in as a result.
On average, a football game in Chapel Hill brings about $6 million of economic impact. The overall economic impact to the Chapel Hill community is even larger when it's a night game.
The energy on game day has transferred to the field, providing coaches and players an additional boost from the Tar Heel faithful.
I want to congratulate the crowd, our student section, the tar pit. I mean, that was unbelievable atmosphere. They did just a tremendous job throughout the entire game, and our guys fed off of that the entire game, and we needed every single person that was in those stands.
The late kickoffs have been a massive success for the fans, businesses, and the team. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brett Thompson reporting.
Now, we don't know the start times of any of Carolina's remaining home games yet. The TV networks have a big hand in determining that, and officials often don't decide until about a week out. Fingers crossed, maybe a couple more. Smart, fast, and physical. That's been the mantra of the North Carolina football team for the past 2 seasons. Caleb Waters tells us about new technology that's helping turn the slogan into reality.
UNC strength and conditioning coach Lou Hernandez watches practice with a different mindset than other coaches. He's utilizing a new technology called Catapult to track his players.
The Catapult program is a GPS system, and it's an amazing piece of technology that is helping us out tremendously when it comes to tracking volume or distance, workload.
The Catapult system fits into a strap that players can wear under their pads during practice. Romar Morris for the running backs, Quinshaw Davis for the wide receivers, and Norkeithus Otis for the defense are among 10 Tar Heels who are currently wearing a Catapult during practice. Coach Hernandez said the system helps them evaluate how hard players are working.
So right now, we're still in the beginning part of this whole process, but it's definitely helping us right now when it comes to evaluating the workload of our athletes on a daily basis.
For a guy like wide receiver and special teams member Kendrick Singleton, another player who is currently wearing a Catapult, it means he can't slack off in practice.
They can tell it's low. That's one bad thing about it. They can tell how fast you move. Because one day I get up to this speed, and the next day I'm not. You know what I mean? Getting up there, they know.
So it helps solidify where it is that the guys are and where we'd maybe like for them to be on a day-to-day basis.
The football team has plans to continue using the Catapult system in future seasons to build on what the Heels have already gained from it. In Chapel Hill, I'm Caleb Waters, reporting.
The Heels hope the new technology can catapult them to even greater success as the season rolls along.
Now, people who don't have the athletic ability to play sports for a living, me, can write about sports, talk about sports, or work with athletes in public relations. One PR class at Carolina is getting that opportunity. I swung by to find out more.
It's the first day of class for these public relations students. They sit down, listen to the lecture, and start typing. They don't know it yet, but a surprise is waiting for them. That's two-time NBA All-Star and former Carolina basketball player Jerry Stackhouse.
That's a good effort by Swicker. Stackhouse. Oh, America! Are you serious? That is a super. Look at him squatting. Look at him dancing. Jerry Stackhouse.
1 week later, two-time college basketball All-American Antoine Jamison? Why would two Carolina basketball...
From a PR perspective, sorry about that, technical difficulties, but from a PR perspective, Jamison has had a lot of things to deal with, things like LeBron's decision and the whole Donald Sterling incident. So, a ton of experience to share.
You know what? I think I would love to take that class. I think I'm going to go sign up for next semester.
Definitely.
Coming up next on Sports Extra.
A runner's inspirational fight against an eating disorder.
Connect with us online by liking the Sports Extra Facebook page and following us on Twitter @SportsExtra_UNC.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Used to call me the buttered biscuit. Back then I was a sex expert. I know about birth control too.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
We all know how hard athletes work, but what happens when pushing your body to the limit becomes dangerous? For one former Tar Heel, a near life-ending experience has changed the way she looks at her sport. Kylie McCoy brings us the story. In Durham and is a member of the Fleet Feet running team in Carborough.
We want to go ahead and apologize for those technical difficulties earlier. We're going to be moving on to men's soccer. Senior forward Andy Craven must be enjoying being the hero for men's soccer, the men's soccer team, because you know what? Craven's goal this weekend gave the Heels a 1-0 win against Virginia Commonwealth. Craven has tallied game winners in all 3 of UNC's wins on the season. The 3-1 Heels are ranked 5th in the country and open conference play against Pitt Friday at 7 at Fetzer Field. So the women aren't about to be outdone by the men. Come on. The Heels took 2 wins in women's soccer at Duke Nike Classic. Amanda Lee joins us live in the studio. Amanda, uncharacteristically, the women's soccer team has been struggling a bit.
That's right, Lewis. Going into the Duke Nike Classic this past weekend, the team had a record of 1-2-1 and hadn't scored a goal since a 1-0 victory against Ohio State on August 24th. That all changed when sophomore Amber Munnerlin scored a goal in the 102nd minute against number 7 Penn State on Friday. Sophomore Joanna Boyles assisted Munnerlin on the goal and says it would be hard to overstate the impact of that goal.
That was a huge goal. We really needed that win just to kind of reset our season and kind of put everything behind us. It was big. It was a big goal.
The Tar Heels carried their newfound confidence into their next game against number 18 Arkansas and scored not 1 but 2 goals in their victory against the Razorbacks on Sunday. The first came in the 16th minute when junior forward Summer Green chipped the ball right over the goalkeeper's head from just outside of the box. Arkansas answered quickly, but with just about 6 minutes left in the first half, freshman Annie Kingman scored the deciding goal off this cross from fellow freshman Jewel Christian. 2 for 2 during the weekend is more like the Tar Heels we've become accustomed to, the team that's won 22 national titles. But so far this season, the Tar Heels have managed to only score 4 goals despite outshooting all but 2 of their opponents. This weekend alone, the Tar Heels outshot their opponents 55-19, scoring 3 times. That's less than 6% of their shots going into the net. So what's causing the team's offensive struggles? Coach Anson Dorrance says it's all in their heads.
And it's all psychological. So in soccer, it's the same thing. If you haven't scored in a while, you have this loss of confidence. And so,
after losing 8 starters last year, building confidence early in the season will be huge for this young team going forward. Lewis, they looked to seem to be back on the right track, but there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Thanks, Amanda. The Heels are now 3-2-1. The ladies have a long break before opening up conference play on September 20th against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Members of the volleyball team are feeling pretty good about themselves following a great weekend in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. The Heels beat Michigan State 3-0 on Friday and did the same thing to Michigan on Saturday. Against the Wolverines, Lee Andrew had the team's first double-double of the season with 11 kills and 10 digs. The Heels are now 4-1 and ranked 17th in the country.
Now, if you're looking to tone up, maybe like me, I don't know, I'm kind of a big body. Stepping on a scale might not be the best way to measure your progress. Alexis Simmons tells us, it's more important to know what your weight is comprised of.
It's a test that will tell you something you might not know, and that's your body composition, says UNC senior Vincent Abiona.
Even if you're not going to work out after, just seeing where you are can affect you mentally.
Graduate assistant of the Functional Movement and Fitness Center, Jordan Lee, says when determining how healthy you are, consider multiple tests other than your body mass index.
It's really what is the body made of, not how much does it weigh.
Body mass index is a simple tool for measuring obesity. It says a 5'9" guy who is 2 inches taller than me, weighing 170 pounds, is considered overweight. But BMI is not the most accurate way to measure your health.
Like a bodybuilder who may be of average height but weighs quite a bit because they have a lot of muscle mass. Muscle weighs more than fat. Their ratio may be skewed to the point that they're categorized as unhealthy.
That's why finding out your body composition, the ratio of fat mass to everything else in your body, is a better indicator of how healthy you are.
The skin fold test, which you're kind of grabbing a section of skin to see how much skin and fat are in that area of the body. The handheld bioelectrical impedance, that it's a little device that you hold your arms out straight and there's a current that's sent through your body.
Abiona's BMI of 22 is good. When measuring body fat, 11.5 to 14.8% indicates a suitable level for males in their 20s. With 7% body fat, Abiona is more than just good. He's in a category that's elite for fitness.
When you're doing things, you don't see the physical results, but when you have numerical data, it makes a huge difference.
And differences in test results are something to look out for. That's why getting more than one test is ideal. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alexis Simmons.
So BMI is the least sophisticated of the measures for determining fitness. Next week, we'll look at how the numbers break down for females. Caroline is on the field and on Twitter, Facebook.
Okay. We'll tell you how UNC's followers stack up next on Sports Extra.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing. Wow!
I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny. That's not a flower.
We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
field hockey team is up for big challenges. The Heels played rival and the #1 team in the nation, Maryland, the Fighting Terrapins, on Friday. The Heels didn't disappoint. The Heels came away with a 3-1 victory against Maryland in College Park. Senior Charlotte Craddock and Lauren Sheely each had a goal. That was the first win against Maryland since 2012. Wow. On Sunday, more of the same for Carolina, a 5-1 win against Delaware. Now, a big reason the Heels are undefeated, ranked #2, and among the favorites to win the national title, the play of senior Charlotte Craddock. The senior is the Field Hockey National Player of the Week. Craddock, #5 here, dominated on offense this weekend, scoring a total of 3 goals against Delaware and Maryland. The native of England was named 2014 preseason All-ACC and ACC Academic Honor Roll. The #2 ranked Tar Heels face Syracuse Friday at 5 in Francis Henry Stadium.
UNC has some of the best teams in the country. As Kayla Gibson tells us, the Heels are beating the competition on the field and on the net.
Kevin Best is the communications director for the athletics department. He says UNC athletes are outdoing their opponents on social media. According to sports technology website Sport Techie, UNC Basketball is the #1 Twitter account in NCAA basketball. UNC Basketball has more than 140,000 followers. That's almost double the next largest Twitter handle, Duke. They have just 90,000 followers. And Best says social media helps widen the Tar Heel fan base.
It's a good way for us to reach that new generation of fan, if you will, especially from a marketing perspective.
Best says Twitter has become a primary tool for sending out information.
Honestly, that is like our first place that we put anything out.
Chapin Nutter is a junior who says he gets most of his information about UNC sports from social media, specifically Twitter and Instagram. Nutter says he enjoys its immediacy and convenience.
Honestly, I don't know how I would find out as much. I could get the Daily Tar Heel, but it's just so much faster to get on your phone and basically immediately see what's going on.
Best says one of the goals now is taking social media and turning it into a tool for fan involvement.
We've got a great following. Now we've got to figure out how to engage those people.
Best says in the past year, the athletics department has used social media to help get fans involved through contests and polls to ask which jersey the player should wear. Nutter says he likes how UNC football will put up the fans' tweets during the game. So whether it's during a game or in your spare time, social media can help you get involved in everything that's happening in the Tar Heel Nation. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kayla Gibson, reporting.
And of course, the one time you never check Twitter or other social media is during class, right? The men's golf team has started rolling in the putts, competing this weekend in the Carpet Capital Collegiate in Georgia. The Heels finished 9th overall. The other Carolina won the event. Senior Brandon Dalinka was the low scorer for the Heels, finishing at 4 under for the tournament. UNC will host the Tar Heel Invitational this weekend at Finley Golf Course.
North Carolina sophomore Jamie Loeb defeated Julia Elbaba of Virginia to win the women's side of the inaugural American Collegiate Invitational on Saturday. That means that Loeb might get a shot at playing in the U.S. Open next year. Wow, very impressive. In her freshman year at UNC, Loeb recorded the program's single-year record, 53 wins in singles play. She is dominant. There's been recent Julius Peppers and Sylvester Williams sightings at Kenan Stadium.
Oh wait, it's just this guy. Next on Sports Xtra.
Don't forget to tune in to our sister shows, Carolina Week at 5 p.m. every Wednesday on Time Warner 24 or Campus Channel 34, and Carolina Connection at 8:30 every Saturday morning on WCHL 97.9 FM.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
The guy with the long hair wearing an orange NFL jersey on the sideline Saturday sure did get a lot of airtime. Jacqueline Matter tells us why.
Caleb Presley is a former Tar Heel quarterback. He missed all of spring practice while studying abroad in Scotland. When he returned, the coaches offered him a position as an assistant coach. He now signals in the plays to the UNC quarterbacks.
I can still contribute, have a role, and still kind of get to clown around with the guys and do what I do best.
Presley is still a UNC student and works closely with both players and coaches in his new official role, supervisor of morale.
They said, "Do you want an office?" I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, what's your position going to be?" I said, "I'll supervise the morale."
Typically, college signal callers wear some sort of bright attire to stand out on the sideline, making it easier for quarterbacks to see them. Presley has taken this to a whole nother level, wearing jerseys of former Tar Heels in the NFL.
So maybe I'll just do some dances down on the sideline. Maybe I'll wear a different wardrobe than the rest of the players and coaches. Maybe I'll just lark around in the nude for a while.
Presley says the decision to move from player to coach was difficult, but he's glad he took on the role. Wide receiver Mac Hollins is excited about having a players coach on the staff as well.
It does help, Caleb being kind of like a player's coach. He's somebody you can talk to, and that he's in the meetings with the coaches. None of us are, but he kind of can get our side of the story off.
Coach Keith Heckendorf says Caleb is a great asset to the team, and being a former player makes his transition easy.
It's kind of his way to contribute as a senior, and he's made the transition well. He keeps things funny in the office. He keeps team morale high, and has done a great job with the signal.
Presley enjoyed his time in Scotland and experienced an entirely new culture. Now he's enjoying an entirely new role with the Tar Heels. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jacqueline Matter reporting.
Caleb Presley sure is a character, isn't he?
He really is. You know, he's a communication studies major, and he's got his own show on Go Heels TV, Coaching with Caleb Presley. Yeah. He calls himself, like Jacqueline said, the supervisor of morale.
That sure is an interesting title. You know who else has I guess it's a real title? Marquise Williams. He finally won that starting quarterback job. What did you think of his performance against San Diego State?
I mean, he was the lead rusher again, and to me that just shows so much versatility. Mm-hmm. What about Mitch's performance?
Gosh, I mean, I honestly think it was a little bit unfair. I don't think he should have been put in. That's just my personal opinion.
Throws off the rhythm.
It does throw off the rhythm. I've never been a big fan of the two quarterback system. But he had a pick. That is what it is. Honestly, this is Marquise's team, and I think the UNC football team should move forward with that idea in mind, that it is indeed his team. Now, we talked about the defense a little bit. Right. One person who we haven't really talked about because he hasn't really done much, Ryan Switzer, at least in terms of special teams. He's leading the team in receptions right now. A lot of short passes trying to get the running game going, but he hasn't returned a punt yet. Do you think that's hanging over Carolina fans' minds?
I think so. I mean, defenses aren't letting him anywhere. They're pushing him to the side every single time, and they're kicking to him, but they're just not letting him go anywhere.
Exactly. It's almost watching it. It's like they're challenging him to go ahead and return the kick. But in this last game, he really had a lot of opportunities, and he messed up a little bit. But that's all right. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thank you for watching.
Good night.